Is everyone okay?
No, everybody's fine. For some reason, just because we're in quarantine, I watched a 3 hour back and forth, and I watched every second of it. So feel free to judge me, between Ack and Adam 22, and your
I'm
man
judging
was
you.
wild.
I'm judging you, by the way.
I
You don't
watched it
care?
over a couple of nah, dog, come on, man. You know I don't. But like I watched it over a couple of shifts, and your man was wilding, screaming, looked like he was off the henny. That's our friend, man. I was thinking, where's Joe's guidance in this?
Wilding is subjective.
Okay.
I don't think, and I hate doing this. I hate that us as media guys get put in a position where sometimes you got to say something about somebody but in the media, so that it seems like a thing. Like, I'm trying to mind my business. Like, I see it, and that's it. Like, I'll be 40, Van.
I'm already
I
40.
can't get involved in Ack and Adam 22 stuff.
Hey, but look, wait a minute.
That is
Wait a
not
minute.
how I want to spend my years. That's not what I'm doing. I like both of those guys. So
I like them
go
too.
ahead.
Man,
Go ahead. Go whatever
my
y'all
guy.
doing. I want everybody to do what's best for them. That's what Joe wants. If you feel that that's that, then I support it.
Let me ask you this though. With somebody that has got as bright a future as academics, and you got to give the reality is that the man has built a whole platform and done this whole thing. He got a whole movement. You can't hate on what he's built, right? People give action a lot of his hating, right? But sometimes when he be going crazy on those things, like the shit that comes out of his mouth, like when you talk about some of the other stuff, that like specifically the way he be talking about women and stuff like that, I wonder if the OGs are still in his life to pull his coat and be like, yo, fam, like you have brands and entities that are watching this, and maybe you need to chill. And so when I watched it, I'm not saying that he wasn't, because he was defending himself. I'm not saying, but he goes pretty far now. It's kind of getting out there.
He doubled down on it the next day, Van.
Mm.
I mean, if you were confused about his position.
Okay.
He doubled down on it the very next day. So, I mean, I stay out of all of it. I want nothing to do with any of it. I want to stay in my own little podcast bubble and talk to my my three friends.
Word.
But I see it, and that's it.
That's it. That's it. Pontius Pilate. Like wash my hands, whatever. Like nothing.
Yeah. What do you want me to do?
I'm expecting an after-school special with you, Rory, and Maul. A very special episode of the Joe Budden podcast.
You know why? You know why this is funny? Let me sit up for this. You know why this is funny? I'm sick of you media. I'm
sick of me?
I'm sick of all of you. I'm the only one in the media that's like some right. You hear me? All right, there we go. You be back?
Nah, I got you now. Yeah. Yeah,
I'm the only one of the media guys that like holds this integrity pole up high and calls out the Vlad. That's when I worked with Act. That's wrong. You shouldn't do that. On air, I did that. I do it all the time. It's y'all turn. Y'all pick up your brethren and say, hey, we love you and you don't have to do it this way. I'm sick of it. I've done it enough.
So let me tell you the difference, and I'm glad you bring that up. Let me tell you the difference. The difference is I personally, because of cultural solidarity, don't believe in going on a platform and calling somebody out. Like the Vlad is different just because of the relationship from Vlad to the culture. Vlad is my man too, and the relationship between you and Vlad. But you wouldn't ever hear me, because I know you, even if I felt like you had done something
Vlad
wrong in the
is
Joe
my
Budden podcast.
man too. Shut the
Vlad is
up.
my man. Vlad is my
But
man. But you
nobody
would never hear
asked
me.
you if that was your
But you
man.
but
Man, give
but
a
but never
that's your man.
but you would never. Obviously, I get that that's my man. But you would
I
never
know.
hear
That's
me.
why I have to make it a point to say publicly that I don't give a that's your man, because that's your man. You're repping for him.
Right. So what I'm saying is, like, I would never publicly say something to insult the Joe Budden podcast without getting on the phone with you and talking to you about it, because I don't believe in speaking ill on people in public like that if I know them. And that's the
And
thing.
I gotta give you some credit too. Plenty of times you've called me ahead of a nasty story.
Yeah. Like, what
Yeah.
the, because to me, if something comes out from my and it's about you, and this is kind of a lesson I learned from that other place. If something comes out on my and it's about you, and I'm not tethered with you, then I feel like it's my responsibility. Even if somebody's on my podcast and they diss you, and I'm not like, yo, just to let you
Which
know,
has
Joe, I
happened.
don't know exactly, but I don't. But what I'm saying is, I called you even then because I don't know how you might be jammed up. I don't know what the going on. But if they said it on my, it's basically like I said it. If I don't let you know, so what's the that's the whole point of it. But you
You
like
better
starting
call.
fires. You like starting fires also. So that's so
Yeah.
that's part of it too. You like starting fires.
No, I'm just not
Burn.
afraid of. I'm not afraid of fire like the rest of these dweebs. I'm
See,
not afraid. I'm not afraid of it. I run to
but
it.
you also like it, right?
I'm comfortable in it. I operate great inside of it.
Right. Like, how predictable was it on some real predictable was it that eventually you were gonna run into issues with Gillie and Wallow? How predictable was that? That was pretty predictable from anybody outside of it.
Damian Lillard, I see you in here commenting. Shut up. Van, why is
What?
that predictable? See, they go act, sneak dissing and denying it is always the worst type of dissing.
Mm. Not saying you have a point. It was
Act, who you
predictable that
talking
you
about? Say
you talk
names,
about
nigga. I'm
Adam.
tired. I'm tired of you media alluding to. Say names. The
He talking about Adam. Um, it was predictable that you would have issues with Gillie and Wallow because
I don't
this
have
town's
issues
not.
with Gillie and Wallow.
Yeah, you have issues with Gillie.
I don't have issues with Gillie.
Now, see, this is where the cap
I don't
comes
have
on
issues.
your part.
Van, I don't have issues
This is
with.
where the cap comes on you. You obviously have issues with Gillie. You obviously do. I listen to the podcast, all 5 hours of it. Every time y'all drop, I listen to it. You obviously have issues with Gillie. Now who's capping? Now who's not running to the fire?
You, I'm telling you, I don't have issues, and you telling
Define
me
it
I
then.
do have issues.
Define it.
Define what?
Define what the animus seems to be then.
I don't know. Joe is awesome. I can't speak for anybody else.
See, Media Joe.
It's
Media
not.
Joe.
I just handled my beef on 3 Hour Live. I was calling out Sneak just some.
Hey, you know what? Jump on with that.
Van,
What up?
the people you're talking about don't exist in my universe.
See what I'm saying?
They
So you're
exist
telling me
in your.
now,
Listen to me. Listen to me.
right?
They exist in your universe. I don't have issues with any of these people because I don't acknowledge these people's existence.
So let me put it to you this way. I've never heard their podcast. Don't have any issue with them. Just I've never heard their podcast. You know how I know that they have a podcast? I know that they have a podcast from your podcast. So obviously
In
they
order,
exist in your
in order,
universe.
in order to
Obviously
keep
they exist in your universe because
in
I've heard about Jason and their
Van
podcast from your
Lathan.
podcast.
All right, all right.
That's true.
Enough of this LA that you're talking on a Friday night. Van, you've heard about it on my podcast because Joe, being the black guy that's at the top of the podcast game, throws a bone to
Talk your
any
shit.
other black person that I know that
Talk
is
your shit.
starting a podcast. I've done it with
Word.
you. I've done it with Gillie. I've done it with Tax. I've done it with Charlemagne. I've done it with any Mandy, you name it. I
You did it
throw
with
bones
Charlemagne.
to other pardon me. Yeah, I throw bones to other black creatives as the number one person in my position. When I see
Right.
people envy that position, or I see people just take shots at a throne, I make a mental checkpoint of it and I keep moving as the number one person in my position.
Mm. Okay.
Gillie's world will never interact with mine. It's two different leagues. It's two different games. It's two different objectives. It's two different at the negotiating table. We two different.
Right.
You talking about Act, you talking about Gillie, you talking about a bunch of people who all have their own way of doing business.
Word.
Respect to them. You have your way of doing business. I got a lot to say about
Certainly.
your way of doing business too.
Give it up.
No, it's no point. You know why?
What?
Because everybody has their own way of doing business. But when you go to bed at night, you know what has to be acknowledged? Joe's number one.
Joe, bro, I don't think there's anybody in this, right? Who first.
So when you speak about, so when you, let me just say this last piece, man, and then you can go. So when you talk about who may have an issue with Joe, don't end it at do not have an issue with Joe. End it at do not have an issue with Joe, and Joe is at the top.
Well, I'm not here to kiss.
Now you were saying.
Well, what I'm saying is that obviously, when people say things about you, you feel a certain way, whether or not they exist in your universe or not, because you take your mighty number one podcast and then use that mic to address those people.
Wrong.
You have.
Wrong.
Have you not used your mic on the podcast to address Gillie?
Wrong.
So my ears are deceiving me. That never happened.
You listening with Los Angeles ears. And
give me the right ears to listen with.
Los Angeles ears are never going to understand how my New York mind is moving. My rule is this.
What about Baton Rouge? What about Baton Rouge ears? Because that's where I'm from.
Yeah, but you've been out there for a little while. So let's not disregard the Hollywood part. But back to what I'm saying. Joe don't respond. I don't respond to people or address people on my podcast. I speak the way I would normally speak to my friends on my podcast. Other people respond. I don't engage. I keep going like I would normally talk on my podcast. I ain't responding. What are you talking about, man?
Bro, so you haven't, okay, let's put it this way. You haven't responded. So let's say somebody else.
Even the fact that I'm saying all of this right now publicly to you, it's Friday night, I'm feeling good. But don't act like I don't know how this goes. We're talking publicly. It's an interview. They chop it up. They throw it everywhere. Now it's mine in your face everywhere. Like, stop with the shenanigans. These know what they're doing. Okay. The same way I know what this conversation is doing. Everybody knows what they're doing. You got to stop playing with me. I'm going to show what is this? I can tell them my brain is different. Stop
what
it.
Is this conversation
Listen,
doing?
Stop. Don't talk to me about the
conversation
people.
Doing?
Listen to me. Don't talk to me about the people you are talking to me about, because I'm. You about to make me say some shit on here, man. Van, go ahead on a Friday night.
Joe.
Go ahead, man, before you piss me off.
Listen, Joe, I want you to. That cough was kind of deep. Be careful, Joe.
Van, enjoy your evening.
I will.
This has been an amazing chat.
I want you to woosah. Next time you're out here, hit me up. But think about what I'm saying, because I think the fact